Hey, what's up, guys? So, got for you the Horde build for Bone Spirits. Some major changes have come into play for Hordes now that we've seen the mechanics, seen how they've done the scaling, seen how they've done with the in-game mobs and everything. So, one of the things with the original Bone Spirit going into Season 5 that's still going to be the highest damage. It just doesn't have the survivability needed for hordes that a pit could manage. Because then once you got to the 100 plus, you really didn't take any more damage. So we were going for the highest damage output versus looking at the tankiness. So going into Season 5 now, and we've been into the hordes, the damage needed, the damage output is not as high as what's needed in pits. What is needed is the ability to survive, the ability to do events while running around and be able to run through mechanics that are some floor effects and some AoEs. So we've been looking at ways to really improve this build while not hindering the damage too much and still being able to clear the content while being substantially tankier. So I wanted to go through the changes that I've made to the build. I'm still being able to put out 4 billion plus hits. And the video that we're watching right now is with 6 items were masterworked at 8 of 12, and the rest varied from 4 to 7. So if that gives you any indication of still the power level of this build, there is a lot of room for some continued growth of that power output, while at the same time it is going to continue scaling our defense. Currently right now, while buffed and in the zone, I'm at 75,000 hit points. So as we increase the masterworkings, we're going to be near, and if we can hit a 3rd crit on our Doombringer, yes, you heard me, Doombringer on a Bone Spirit Necro, if we can increase and hit a 3rd crit on max life, we're going to be pushing near 100k HP. So it's pretty substantial, the survivability of this build, while having multiple sources of damage reduction, barrier gen that is up 100% of the time, and we're going to have the exact same fortify as our HP. So we're going to sitting at a 300 HP pool, which is also important because our overpower does scale off of that fortify as well. So we'll get into the build here in just a second. Enjoy the rest of this, including the wave 9 and the last wave and the bosses, the council, and then we'll get into the build. Alright, so let's get into the skill tree first. So normally we're just going through to get our skills into splinters to get to the next line. We're keeping the 6 here. The first change you may see is we no longer use Blood Mist. It's not important for pits. Sure, there may be a random desecrator or something that has some crazy AoE on the ground, but we've got enough HP pool now where even if we do get hit by it, we can heal through it with a potion and get out of the way. So we got rid of Blood Mist completely. And we've got 3 into the Skulled Warrior still, the Bone Prison, going into Fueled by Death. Still this movement speed and the Death's Embrace for extra damage. I've removed all excess points out of Decrepify. We're only using Decrepify for the DR and the Curse to get Amplify going. Same Blood Orbs here for the Tendrils. 2 into Necrotic Carapace. Of course, we're dumping everything we've got right now into Bone Spirit. This is incredibly lacking. My chest plate and my gloves are garbage. Absolute garbage. So until we get those, that's going to remain here. We'll probably get up to 24-ish when we're done. We also don't have a GA on our Trag boots yet, so we're missing a lot of damage here. But we are going down to get the max essence on that. All 4 of our bone passives are filled in, 2 into crit here, and then we pick up Bone Storm with the crit strike chance. And then, of course, Ossified Essence. So the reason for picking up Bone Storm and losing Blood Mist is a couple of things. So first, we get the DR just from having the standard Bone Storm up. But it also is going to be getting us, so we've removed Hardened Bones. And why this is important is because we're getting the DR from our Shaco and our DR from our Doombringer. So we can fit in Shielding Storm now. And we're able to get in the case currently, we're at 75k HP. We're able to get the 75k barrier. And we're able to maintain that substantially with both Rapid Ossification and our cooldown. So when we've got the cooldown of 10 here and 30 here, we're sitting at a 40% cooldown reduction as it stands, plus the Rapid Ossifications. Now, ultimately, we're going to try to get this at least to the next cooldown reduction and get close to 40. If we can double crit it, ideally we would want a second crit or a third crit to get it to the full masterworking. But as it stands right now, we can have Bone Storm up. The cooldown currently is at 37.65 seconds, and it lasts for 10. However, with Rapid Ossification and using Decrepify, that is on cooldown. One of the other things that has been a big change is some of the gear itself. So clearly we've moved into Shaco and we've lost the Shielding Storm. But a couple other big changes is we're dropping Torment completely. With the amount of cooldown we've got now, even with only a single crit on both of my Macabre Restoring Essence, we can maintain, and you saw it in the video, one single Bone Prison before each Spirit cast allows for an entire refill of our Essence. So the rotation currently is you cast your Spirit, and since Rapid Ossification is storing the triggers still, you cast 2 Decrepifies and your Bone Prisons back up. And you can get all of this off in a matter of 2 seconds. So every 2 seconds you're casting Bone Prison, which you're doing 4-ish billion, 3 to 4 billion. And so if you're looking at over a 2-second period of time, casting 8 billion, we're still doing a substantial amount of damage. So all of that being said, I wanted to go through and real highlight the rest of the gear real quick, just in video form, because I actually haven't put out a geared out Bone Spirit build this season, so I figured it might as well a good time to do that as well. So we are using Shaco. Masterwork crits here are going to be minimum 2, with the third being maximum essence. If you can, ideally we want 3 crits here. Again, my chest plate is garbage. Still want the essence per second because it does help keep ticking, but instead of the int or max life, we need our Macabre skills here, so we're missing at minimum 4 to 7, depending on what we crit. For our gauntlets, again, garbage gloves. We have enough crit chance now where we could get rid of one of our crit chance rolls. So ideally this would be max life for int, attack speed, and core skills. I am focusing substantially more on the max life side of things simply because of the ability to tank all those T8 mechanics. For the pants, again, the most important thing here is going to be our max life as the GA. Don't have one yet, that curse. And then you do want your 150 or as close to your max as you can. For your trag boots, you absolutely want to hit your bone prisons or bone skills here, and as a GA and critting them. And then you want your bone prison, of course, to be as high as possible. For your Doombringer, ideally we would get a GA on max life, but the masterworkings here are going to be your max life. We want to get that absolutely scaled to the highest level we can to reach that 100k mark. For offhand, I have max life, maximum resource. I still am focusing on GA on max resource and critting that, just because it is a much tighter. Using Shaco, it is a much tighter since we lose 5 off of the base, as well as we don't have the additional triggers from the double cast from Bone Splinters because we're using Doombringer, and we're still focusing on that Bone Splinters projectiles. It is less important. I very well may consider going into the Bone Storm duration, but that's where we're at for this right now. For your rings, still going in max life crit strike chance with the Macabre Restore. The loop of grasping, or the grasping veins on this one. This was the Requiem, of course. Grasping veins on this one for the tendrils, as well as the Macabre Restore and bone crit strike damage. Ideally, you'd want the Bone Spirit on both of your rings. Essence. I'm playing around with Essence on kill. It's not as impactful as I was expecting it to be. And I have it on. Do I have anywhere else? That may be the only place I have it. Yeah, so it's not as impactful as I was hoping, but I'm still going to keep playing around with it. And then on the amulet, ideally you would want a GA on your max life. Attack speed will do, and you want as close to 60 as you can. I do have an additional one here for the crit strike chance. It would give us the opportunity to move some other stats around, but the cooldown is just so much more impactful, being able to pair it up and keep your Bone Storm and your Bone Prison down. As far as the Paragon goes, nothing changed here at all. It's exactly the same. Now, with that being said, here's our stats. This is 61, 62k without the potion. As soon as you pop your Elixir Fortitude, you get up to 75,000. Sitting at in town, 43% crit strike chance. About 3,000 additive. A little over, actually. 3,000 additive. And then for our defenses, we have capped resist, capped armor, and there's your rest of your stats. Alright guys, you know where I'm at. If you got any questions, anything you're doing that's working out extremely well, let me know in the comments, and we'll see y'all next time.